and every citizen of our nation. We ask for your unlimited blessings as we give you praises and thanks. Hari Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Superintendent Umesh Arjun. We will now have the Christian prayer by Women's Inspector Michelle Padmore.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thine will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. We ask God that as we're about to embark on this project, we ask your divine guidance and protection. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. O Lord, Lord of new beginnings, Lord of rejuvenation, we ask you, Allah, that you bless this gathering, the significance of this gathering. We ask you that you bless our leader, our president, our commissioner, and all the leaders of this country. Bless us. We ask that you bless this new building that you're about to construct, the Brickdam police station. May it serve as to glorify you and to recognize you that you are the glorious and you are the Almighty. Amen.
Thank you very much, Inspector Nafasti Morris. Please all take your seats. His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Honorable Robson Ben, Minister of Home Affairs, Commissioner of Police Clifton Hicken, Mr. Roy Basu of Basu Construction, National Security Advisor, Chief of Staff, Director of Prison, Fire Chief, Head of Canoe, other heads of agencies and senior ranks of the Guyana Police Force, Guyana Prison Service, and the Guyana Fire Service, and the GDF. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, all, good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to this commissioning, the soft turning of the new Brickdam Police Station. Today marks a significant moment in the history of law enforcement in our beloved country. We gather here for the soft turning ceremony, symbolizing the commencement of the construction of the new Brickdam Police Station, a project born out of the ashes of the unfortunate fire that engulfed our century-old institution on the fateful day of Saturday, October 2nd, 2021. The fire, a tragic incident that affected not only the physical structure, but also the heart of our country's security, which led to the destruction of over 80% of the historic Brickdam Police Station. We cannot forget the efforts of the Guyana Fire Service in controlling the blaze, nor can we overlook the sacrifices made by our brave men and women in uniform. In the face of adversity, the government, in collaboration through the Ministry of Home Affairs, took swift action to ensure the continuity of policing operations. Temporary arrangements were made at the St. Stanislaus College and other locations, and we express our deepest gratitude to the Board of Governors, teachers, and students for accompanying the Guyana Police Force during the challenging period. Now, as we turn the sod for the construction of the new Brickdam Police Station, we embark on the single largest infrastructural project to ever be undertaken by the Ministry of Home Affairs. The magnitude of this endeavor reflects our commitment to restoring and enhancing the safety and security infrastructure in our country. The project involves the design and construction of a modern 12-story complex standing tall at the same location where the previous police station stood. This monumental undertaking comes with a significant investment of US $28,140,000, awarded to the reputable R. Basu and Sons Construction Company in partnership with the Quangjang Group Company, Guyana Inc. The project timeline spans 30 months, during which this state-of-the-art facility will take shape. Upon completion, it will house the operations of the Divisional Headquarters 4A, featuring essential departments such as traffic, finance, the impact base, CID, amongst others. Some of the key features of this 12-story complex will be a structure that's harmoniously blended with glass, concrete, and a robust structural steel frame, showcasing modern architectural elements. Ensuring safety, the building will be earthquake resistance up to magnitude 5.0. State-of-the-art fire detection and protection systems will be in place, inclusive of detectors, alarms, hose reels, and extinguishers. The complex will be equipped with advanced CCTV monitoring and access to control systems, enhanced security measures. A robust telephone and data network will facilitate seamless communication within the facility. With a capacity to accommodate 2,000 persons, this complex with a grid-tied power supply will be one that's unique to the landscape of Georgetown. To ensure accessibility, we'll have dual elevators and staircases, which will be strategically placed. As we turn the sod today, let this symbolize not only the commencement of construction, but also the resilience and determination of our country to rise from the ashes like a phoenix, stronger and more powerful than ever. Together, let us look forward to the day when this new Brickdam Police Station stands as a testament to our resilience, unity, and commitment to the well-being of our country. With those remarks, first of all, I didn't introduce myself. I am the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, Andre Ali. I will be chairing today's proceedings, and I will do my best to let the program flow as smoothly as possible. And in doing so, I'd like to invite now the contractor of this project, the main contractor, and that's Mr. Roy Basu of R. Basu and Construction. Please help me in welcoming him to the podium.
Thank you, PS. But I think Mr. PS Ali deserves a round of applause. Thank you very much. His Excellency, with all the protocols observed, I am grateful to the government of Guyana for continuing to repose confidence in Basu Construction, and would like to assure the President and the Ministry that in conjunction with our partners, Queen Jing better known as CNQC, represented here by Mr. Liu, the country's manager. We intend to deliver this project before the contract's completion date and without compromising quality. Having held discussions already with the top brass of this division and the Home Affairs team regarding logistical issues and site organization, please know, Mr. President, that we will not impede the vital works of the Guyana Police Force during construction. Having worked successfully with this ministry before, we intend to not only deliver, but to build to the specifications, and in keeping with our motto, we build to last a lifetime. As you can see, our geotechnical and survey teams are already mobilized, and they are on site presently and raring to go as soon as this function is over. Let the action and fun begin, guys. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Basu. This is a great demonstration of the government's commitment to enhancing security for the country. And our next speaker is the man in charge of the Guyana Police Force. He leads them, and he will tell you a lot about this strategic direction and the strategic pillars of the Guyana Police Force today. Please join me in welcoming the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Hicken.
Good morning. Thank you, PS, Senator Farm Chairperson, His Excellency the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, Minister of Home Affairs, Minister Robson Ben, NSA, Heads of Joint Services, Head Kanu, Senior and Junior Officers of the Joint Services, special invited guests, members of the media, good morning all. We're looking kind of too relaxed, but this is a joyous moment for us. So I want to start by saying thanks to you, Your Excellency, for this initiative. Give the Excellency a round of applause. And there's another one to come. I want to thank the Minister for his foresight, so give him a round of applause, too. The Guyana Police Force is currently administered by a strategic plan. And one of the strategic plans speaks to infrastructure. Over the past 2-3 years, from 2020 to now, we've seen a significant improvement in terms of the police infrastructure. And that is for many of reasons. One, that is to create a more conducive environment where members of the public and members of the police force can interact. Very importantly too, coming out of these type of infrastructure development, it's modernizing the force with all the components needed whenever we're dealing with issues of domestic violence, we deal with issues of ID parade, just to name a few. But more importantly, it creates an impact in terms of conduciveness and efficiency coming out of the Guyana Police Force. And so this coincides with the transformation we are trying to achieve moving from a Guyana Police Force to a Guyana Police Service. You cannot do this transition without the right infrastructure in place. And I'm happy to be the Commissioner of Police during this period when we're going to create history. We're going to have a 12-story building. But I'm going to come back to that building in a meanwhile. Suffice to say, as we develop our infrastructure to aid the efficiencies of the Guyana Police Force and to bridge the gap in members of the public, similarly, coming out of our strategic plan, we have a robust maintenance policy that is being adhered to, and with the 12-story building, it's likely you're going to see we're employing maintenance at the engineering level so that we can be self-sufficient in our spheres. And so the infrastructure is good, but maintenance is our responsibility, and we're doing that thus far. With this 12-story building, importantly, we will have to do some adjustments in terms of employing engineers within the Guyana Police Force's sphere. This is the best part of it. It is strategically placed at Brickdam Police Station like our predecessors. But importantly, we have never had this concept where we're going to put a 12-story building in the compound of headquarters. Why are we doing that? Because traditional departments that were located at Ivlery and other areas may very well find themselves at headquarters, and that is to ease the burden of persons traveling till to headquarters to be served. And we are strategically placed, and I think the response time and everything is going to be added to our advantage at this strategic location of Brickdam. In addition to just the police components, we're going to see civilian components in terms of technocrats working in conjunction with police, so we can adequately bridge the gap between members of the public and the Guyana Police Force. One of the, we plan to enforce deriving from, and I just want to deviate a bit from our symposium we had. And we've seen conflict in Guyana is not resolved amicably, and so we want to be integrally involved of the preventative method. And so we've been moving around and we're working our NGOs, and of course, you know, we're embracing restorative justice. And this will add value to the transition from the Guyana Police Force to the Guyana Police Service. And so we have good times ahead of us in terms of giving us the tools to do the job. Equally, the expectation of His Excellency is that we maintain the status quo and provide the output compatible with the tools that we are having. And so we intend to do just that. Like I said, the force is guided by a strategic plan, so everything we're doing is in a structured way that is expected. The days of doing ad hoc and making ad hoc decisions, that is over. Everything is being done now in a structured way, and all we have to do after the structures are in place is to administer that. And so I'm happy to be the Commissioner of Police today, and I want to close off by saying much is given, much is expected. We have seen the transition in terms of the police behavior. For the new year, I've outlined exactly the status quo in terms of academics in the Guyana Police Force, and now with the economy on board, we're going to see a complete change in the police behavior and attitude. So I think the public, there's an exciting year for you. Expect improved delivery service to members of the public. And once again, thank you, and thank you, Your Excellency. God bless you.
Thank you, Commissioner. You heard it. Improved efficiency, improved service. That is what we are aiming for. And our next speaker is the policymaker of the ministry, and he will guide you through some of our strategic policy initiatives. Please help me welcome in Minister Robeson-Bett.
Thank you. Good morning. Your Excellency Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of Guyana, our Commissioner of Police, our head of our armed forces, our National Security Advisor, Mr. Tubaya, Brigadier Omar Khan, our head of the Army, Mr. Nickland Elliott, the head of our prison service, Mr. Gregory Wickham, the head of our fire service, Mr. James Singh, the head of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, all the deputy commissioners, commanders, and all the leaders in our security establishment. Of course, I have to recommend Mr. Basu and the head of the Qingjiang Construction Group, who are in partnership with Basu for the construction of this new edifice. Officers all, ladies and gentlemen, and all of those who would have supported the efforts in responding to the what was, for me, the dramatic and egregious loss of the old Brickdam police station. And of course, remember, we were in the Promenade Gardens and the president was making a speech. And at first we thought that matters were under control, but then we lost it. And in many ways we lost it not only in issues of responses, but in terms of engagement, in terms of being engaged with respect to the jobs that we have to do. And so this is an issue for all of us. It is a teaching moment, unfortunately, but it's one that we must have and learn to move on from. Our government, led by Irfan Ali, our president, epitomizes in terms of the energy, the innovation, the vision that we have for our country, speaks to what was said, I think, in the first presentation from our religious interlocutors: removal of obstacles. And in removing obstacles, not in a rough and ready, unplanned, visionless way, but in terms of stage by stage, having an understanding of the challenges that we have, an understanding of the people who we are, the questions which face us in relation to bringing all of our people together. Our president has put forward the significant and simple speech note of One Guyana, that even now at this time, in recognizing that we are at the most propitious moment in Guyana's history and in its development, we have to rise all of us at the tasks which are required to move our country forward to the better place which is deserving for the Guyanese people. The much better place which is deserving for the Guyanese people. Taking us beyond our differences, beyond our difficult and indescribable in many ways history. That is what our president, our government, the cabinet is about. And the issues in relation to the opportunities we have for making good the resource benefits that are upon us and are with us can only be done if we have to come together, if we will come together, perhaps to use an invidious suggestion, a coalition of the willingness, a coalition of the willing, a recognition of the pathway, of the vision which has been laid out for each and every one of us in terms of securing our country. There will be no development without good security. There will be no development if we don't meet with ourselves, each other, if we don't look at each other and look at ourselves in the face and link arms together in relation to our country's development. The challenges we have had, and we are aware in relation to the questions of sovereignty, in relation to the pervading and sometimes outrageous things which happen in respect of crime and violence, can only be met, can only be dealt with if we look at the information we have, if we understand our people, if we seek peace and harmony amongst ourselves, if we are willing to do the jobs that we are made to do and set out to do and trained to do, we can only match and exceed the requirements to build a new future, a new country, if we work together on that understanding. There will be times when we skirmish with each other, when we disagree with each other, but with communication, with understanding, with willingness, there is always a clear and defined pathway to success. The security sector has perhaps in many cases been video's task of making life and ensuring peace in Guyana. And in doing so, we have to pay attention to the important questions beyond the individual persons. The new building in itself will not mean that there is success. It is the quality of the engagement, the understanding, and the willingness of those who will occupy the building, the positions, and to do the job. This is not merely the infrastructure. It's not merely the physical things. It simply has to do, one, with the leadership, two, with the management, and then the operational engagement at the points where we have to meet, to deflect, to calm down, and to make better the situations we have in our communities and with our people and with ourselves. And so, in making brief remarks otherwise, I want to thank President Irfan Ali, who himself came on that day when we had the big conflagration, and we determined that we will move ahead to something new. Here, unfortunately, it forced upon us a capital infrastructure in an unplanned way. And it happened because there were failures at the management level, the middle management level, in respect of the people we manage, in respect of the people we have to secure. And we have to look at this particular issue and to learn from this issue. There were failures, and the failures led us to this terrible loss and tragedy on the day. There were firefighters in distress, there were policemen and women in distress, trying to save stuff, government equipment, trying to save cars burning, documents burning. McBean was on the side too, after having perhaps said to me, things are under control, but with the high winds on the day, there was not much could be done with these old wooden buildings and the challenge which we had on that day. So I want to recognize the efforts of the police, the fire service, in the ministry itself, all those who came here, our permanent secretary, Ms. May Toussaint Thomas, the engineers who within a week of the issue we had here on the ground, I remember Ms. Helima Bagwandin, Ms. Tiana Garnett, Mr. Nikran, Mr. Narendra Gayadin, and others who came here within a week. And we started doing some basic foundation work and assessments and architectural renderings to determine what may happen here going forward. I want to recommend again that we have rigorous interfacing with the engineers, builders, in respect of the doing of this building. I hear Mr. Basu saying that he will do it in much less time. I think he has too much time. I think we've been very generous in the amount of time which he has in relation to this matter, but we will work with you all here, and we're just a walkover from the Ministry of Home Affairs, and I know the Commissioner of Police has to pay very keen interest in this matter in terms of the building of the new police station edifice. Crime in Guyana, in many ways, is defined by what happens in Georgetown. Not only is Georgetown the hub for transport, for people moving, it's in some ways a congested urban environment, and also persons pass through Georgetown being the main commercial center in relation to our development. What happens in relation to crime in the country depends a lot on how things are performed in Georgetown, how the better examples in terms of policing are given in Georgetown itself. So we are at a defining point, not only in terms of the building, but specifically in relation to how we engage. And so I want again to thank you all, to recommend that we at the Ministry of Home Affairs remain engaged in this issue, that the Cabinet, and more particularly and specifically the President, is engaged on this issue. We rely on his support and the support of others, but we rely on our collective effort and engagement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Ben. Our feature address will be done by no other, His Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Ali. We consider him the architect of the New Guyana, building out the macro infrastructure, and now to this very important project, this micro infrastructure project, the police force. Please.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, His Excellency.
Good morning. Good morning. Please have your seats. If this is a senior command of the Guyana Police Force, I expect you to lead by example. You see, when the public come into the police station and tell the police officers good morning, and you get a type of attitude that does not reflect the goodness of the morning, then sometimes it comes from the top. So good morning. Good morning. Yes, very good. Better. Now let me say how very pleased I am to be here at what is a simple but significant task. And I want to spend some time today, not much, just a little bit of time to put things into context. Recognizing all the stakeholders we have here, including the contractor, the Commissioner of Police, all our senior men and women in the Guyana Police Force, members of the Guyana Police Force, the National Security Advisor, the Director of CANU, yes, the Director of CANU, because the organizational structure of this organization will come into effect later today, the new structure, the Chief of Staff, the Director of our prisons, and the Guyana Fire Service. Now, it's important for us to understand that security is not unintegrated or unintended. What do I mean? There is a reason why we have the joint services and why we refer to the joint services. Because for the security architecture, for the national security architecture to function in a holistic way, in a comprehensive way, and in unison, it requires every facet of the security apparatus of the country to function in a seamless way. So the security architecture is linked to the security apparatus. The security apparatus is basically all facets of our security structure in the country working in an integrated way. And I want to make this very important point because sometimes we see the development of this building, for example, in isolation of what is happening in the national security architecture. And it is important for us to understand the national security architecture and what is the aim of the national security architecture. And the national security architecture is not just to reduce crime or to look at all the stats and serious crime, simple larceny and all of these things. That is on the decline. But the security architecture is to develop a culture of safe living in the country. And that is what is proactive policing and intelligent policing. It is how the police and how the security architecture build its capacity to help the country in developing a culture of living in peace. And that is far different from fighting crime. that is proactively engaging community through community initiative, community policing, through deploying the intellectual capabilities of our security architecture to infuse in the population a new model of thinking, a new structure of thinking, a thinking that leads them away from crime. And then the government has a responsibility of building institutions, building facilities, and building an economy that gives every single citizen an opportunity to prosper and an opportunity to enjoy a good standard of living under the development of a culture of peace and prosperity. And the security architecture of the country must be able to do this. Sometimes we are of the mistaken view that security is about running behind two criminals, stopping the man who is speeding. But the more important task is teaching the person not to speed. It's building a system that disallows the person from speeding. It is about how do we train the mind and train the thinking process of our citizens to avoid crime. And that is one of the key components of this security architecture that we are building. And if you look at the Guyana Police Force, you have 1 PhD, 3 lawyers, 6 persons with LLB, 14 persons with master's degree, 51 persons with a first degree, 87 persons who are now trained as special prosecutors. They have diploma as special prosecutors, and then 92 persons with diplomas from the university. This tells you the story that we have this intellectual capacity and capability in the Guyana Police Force to do the type of work that I've alluded to. And if I go to the Guyana Defense Force and I go to Kanu, the story is the same. And one of the new dynamics that we are experimenting on as we build out this infrastructure is how do we create results-based security? How do we convert the Guyana Police Force, the Guyana Defense Force, the Guyana Prison Service into results-based organizations? And how do we link result-based performance into the welfare and well-being of those who are given the responsibility of our national security architecture? These are things that are key for us to consider. I want to assure you that when I said in 2019 going into 2020 that we want our people to retire in dignity, that was a very loaded statement. Although we have made the adjustments in the Guyana Police Force, we are still examining ways in which we can ensure upon your retirement, whether as a constable or as a commissioner, that upon your retirement, you retire in dignity based on the service that you have delivered to the country. And this is something that is uppermost in my mind at this moment. How do we allow even a constable, sometimes who served 20 years, a sergeant who retires after serving 33 years, ensuring that those individuals retire in dignity? But that end product must be linked to your cycle in the police force. I examined some structures across the world. Upon retirement, they examine the number of cases you prosecuted. They examine the number of arrests you made. They examine the number of convictions you helped in. They examine the totality of your service, not just a numbering system. We have gotten too accustomed to service being a numbering system, how many years you serve. and not the quality that is inherent in the service that you give. And that is the difference between quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis. And that is the direction with which we want to go. Now, if I'm to turn the sod or cut the ribbon of every single project we're going to do this year, I'll have to do it twice every day across the country. Because in the Guyana Police Force alone, I want to give you an understanding of what we're doing. We are building out for the first time a marine division that would be capable of utilizing our river asset in crime positioning, crime fighting, and proactive intelligence work. So right now we're in the process of acquiring state-of-the-art marine asset to support the work of the Guyana Police Force. Outside of this, we are building an air capacity and capability for the Guyana Police Force that will be integrated with the Guyana Defense Force, because we're going to move a lot of our air capacity and capability to the new hangar at Ogle that the Guyana Defense Force is constructing and rehabilitating right now. We hope in that hangar to not only add to the air capability and capacity of the Guyana Defense Force, but to add 2 modern pieces of equipment to support the air division of the Guyana Police Force that includes chopper, that includes drone capability, so that it would further enhance our crime fighting capability and advanced capability. So what we are doing is creating an integrated joint services in terms of this asset positioning and its asset base. In the Guyana Police Force, for example, we will have an integration between the chopper, the seacraft, what I call the seacraft capability, the air capability, and the land capability. Of course, in the land capability, we're already investing heavily in bikes, in the motor vehicles, in buses, in ATVs. So we are building that capability out. The other thing that we are looking here at is our human resource asset. So what we want to do is to move as much of the services from Ivleary into this new facility that we are building here. Because we want to free up Ivleary to be primarily the police academy, to support the work that we are going to do in building out a world-class, state-of-the-art police academy to serve all of this region. We are building a police academy to serve all of this region. When I said our prosperity must lead to the regional prosperity, this is what I meant. Building our capacity to be leaders not only in Guyana but in the region, so that we can have officers, we can have youngsters joining the police academy here in Guyana and then working throughout the region. At the center of all that we are doing is digitization and automation. Because we want to remove the human bias in our security architecture. So everything will be done through traceability. Everything will be done through traceability. The entire system will be on a digital platform that is fully automated, where people will be held accountable by a system. So digitization and automation will be key components. Only the other day, I went on one of my usual spot check at immigration after arriving in the country. And this did not come by accident. This came because I had reports that there is slothfulness at the airport. When I went there, I observed that there were 2 immigration officers who are processing people at an average of 20 seconds. And there were some processing at an average of 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Right there, we stood up, we examined the system. We made the observation. The Commissioner of Police was there. We made the observation to the officer in charge. And at an average, each passenger was processed between 20 to 30 seconds. What that tells you? We have the capability, but sometimes the attitude does not match the capability. And we have to correct these things. That is why I give the example of good officers and officers who are not performing, not that they're not good, they're not performing at their optimal capability. And when they don't perform at their optimal capability, the entire system is branded. That is why we have to support each other. We have to rely on each other. And we have to integrate what we do together to deliver a better service. So digitization, automation, infrastructure, service, and people are the forefront of what we are doing in building into the future today. This building is an example of us building into the future today. In the Guyana Defense Force, there too, we are modernizing. We are focusing a lot on border consolidation, looking at our assets, our infrastructure, and our people, repositioning our assets, infrastructure, and people, building out new assets, building out new capability, enhancing our Coast Guard to effectively monitor our EEZ, bringing in a modern drone system, and modernizing our aviation section and our air capability enhancement. We are building out our hard and software, integrating our hardware and software through enhanced technology, building out an infrastructure and capability that will give us more mobility and enhance our accessibility across the country. So this year, I'm using this opportunity to give you an insight into the type of investment that will be made this year in building out this national security architecture. At Kanu, very soon we'll be turning this out for your new headquarters. We are building at Kanu a regional integrated system that will allow Kanu not only to function effectively out of the city, but to function out in every single region with same efficiency, same capability, and with the same ability to proactively work against those who try to destroy our society with drugs. An important part of what we're doing with Kanu also is to build its capacity to integrate with other regional structures in the Caribbean, in Latin America, and of course with our partners in the Western Hemisphere. That is why the structure of Kanu will reflect this new approach to the work that they do. In the fire service, we are building our capability and capacity, enhancing our infrastructure, building our human resource capacity. And of course, we are now going to implement a system of accountability because we are not satisfied that we are getting the full value for the investments we are making in the Guyana Fire Service. And I'll be very frank with you. The fire chief will tell you that. But we're going to continue to build the capability and capacity of the Guyana Guyana Fire Service this year. Not only with new fire tenders and more technologically advanced pieces of equipment, but education to the population, education in the school, education to the private sector. And importantly, we are going to build our capacity in every NDC across the country with what we call mobile firefighting unit. One of the important things that we're going to do this year is to train the volunteer fire brigades in all the different communities across our country, the NDCs, so that we can have faster response, quick response time, and then give them the capability to work in these communities. The Guyana Prison Service is also seeing severe modernization in terms of technological capability, the training of its human resources, the building out of new infrastructure, the enhancement of its asset base. So all of these investments are made so that we can have what we call this national security architecture in place and intact to meet what would be the requirement of our country as we build into the future. So today, I want to congratulate all the stakeholders, all those who work tremendously hard, our negotiators, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Home Affairs, and of course, the Guyana Police Force. The contractor, I'm sure that I had a talk already with the contractor, and I am very sure that this project will come in long before time, and that we will have a project that all of us can be proud of. So I want to take this opportunity to wish the Guyana Police Force, all our men and women in uniform, great success this year, and know that we are working together to ensure not only we have a better national security architecture, but to ensure that all of you have a better life ahead of you. I thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Please, let's give His Excellency another round of applause. Now as we wind down to the end of the program, I'd like to invite His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Fanali, along with Mr. Ben and the rest of their table, over to the site where we will do the sun turning.
Chelsea not doing well at all. We're not getting return for the money spent. Para a próxima parte.